Welcome to the Wine Nirvana podcast. Wine reviews for the average wine drinker. No pretense, no snobbery, no numerical ratings. And here's our host, Stephen Hawk.
Hello, folks. This is Stephen Hawk, back with the Wine Nirvana podcast. This is episode 2, the Pet Peeve edition, where I want to talk about how to approach restaurant wine lists. The first point I want to make is, when ordering wine at a restaurant, don't be intimidated. The server will often present you with a pages-long list, but then expect you to make a selection immediately before you have any idea what food you're going to pair it with. So, bad idea. My suggestion is to just if the server has not already brought water, just ask for water, and then that'll give you time to try and figure out what your entree is going to be. And sometimes they'll still rush you because they're on a schedule. So all you have to do is say, well, we're going to have some wine with dinner, but we don't know what we're eating, so we need some time. Once we decide on our food, then we're going to order some wine to go with it. Now, here's the other thing: you might not know what kind you want, and this is where you can rely on help. You can rely on that self-same server, because a decent restaurant, if they do have an extensive wine list, hopefully they will have train their wait staff on what kind of wines that they have and what goes with their foods. Sometimes that does not work, and you're on your own. But if the help's there, you ought to use it. Higher-end restaurants are likely to have a sommelier, which is simply a wine steward. And that person you really want to use, because that is going to be a person. I was going to say a guy. It often is a guy. But he or she will be a wine expert. And that person, if they have a sommelier, they will know the restaurant's wines. And that person should definitely be relied on. The third point, and the core of this podcast, is that restaurant wine is always overpriced, and it's been overpriced for a long time. Historically, the markup has been about 200% of retail cost, and restaurants have always they've been criticized by this, and they've explained it away by saying, oh, well, look, we have our fine glassware. We have our sommelier. We have our linens. This has to be paid for somehow, right? Other times the justification is, well, we're not making enough on our food margins. So we've still got to make a profit, and so wine is an easy profit center. Of course, both of these arguments are completely specious, in my opinion, because on the one hand, yes, if you have a higher-end wine service, so there is glassware and linens, etc., there's cost in there. However, is that cost 2 or 3 times the price of the wine itself? I think not. And there are also BYOB, bring your own bottle restaurants, and they somehow magically manage to stay in business and turn a profit and not have an alcohol program at all. Now, some places they kind of take a middle ground, and that they will allow you to bring your own wine, but there's a corkage fee. Now, that can be fine, but again, I think a corkage fee is, again, for a guy to come and pull a cork and the glasses, the linens, maybe $5. I've seen corkage fees of $35, $40, which is just absurd, if you ask me. And you can discover some of these markups when you're at the table, if you dare, you can Google a wine you're interested in and find out what its retail price is. And here are some random examples. One was that I just discovered recently. One was for a J. Lohr 7 Oaks Cabernet Sauvignon. This is from Paso Robles. It's in the central coast of California. On this wine list, it was $38. And wines in the mid 30s are going to you're going to see that price point a lot. That wine sells at the winery for $17. Now, that's a 200% markup, and that's what people used to do. So that one's kind of okay. Found another one, Sterling Vintners Cabernet, $35. You can buy it any day of the week for $10 at Walmart. And the one that I discovered that just really, really irritated me was, this was an Estancia Cabernet. I have been drinking Estancia literally for 30 years. Again, it's also coincidentally from Paso Robles, Cabernet Sauvignon, widely available. I found it on a wine list for $11 a glass. I just bought this wine at my local liquor store for $6 a bottle. These are the kind of egregious markups that make me crazy. And I will occasionally do a restaurant review on Yelp. I've been calling these restaurant owners out on this. I never get a response, but I find this just to be, I think it's just abusive, basically. And so these kinds of markups are just they're just unconscionable, right? Like I say, I can live with 250%, but beyond that, then you're just getting into greed territory, as far as I'm concerned. I did do a little research, and I found some information from the Wine Enthusiast magazine, and they had some tips on at least how to kind of do an end run around this. One of the points that they made was they said the restaurant is kind of punishing you for being a creature of habit. It's not kind of punishing you. They are punishing you, as far as I'm concerned. And this is the other thing. So, and with that statement was that they were punishing you because you were a creature of habit and you would buy the same wines at the restaurant as you would drink at home. And there is that point. But beyond that, I always have wine with meals. I just do. So that's the other way they punish you. If you're used to enjoying wine with your meals and you go out to a restaurant, then they know that they've got you as a captive audience, and you're gonna, you're out. It's a splurge, right? So if you don't want to drink Coke or water with your meal, then you're stuck with whatever they're demanding on the wine list. But anyway, the Enthusiast, they had 4 points. One was to order mid-list, and I thought this was an excellent point. What they said was the second least expensive wine on the list is often marked up the most. Why? People don't want to look cheap, so they order the second cheapest wine, Shore says. Go 1 or 2 bottles higher for a better deal. Also to beware of brand names, because they know they're always going to get a full markup because people know what to expect. Another point about position on the list is most lists follow a graduated markup, with the highest markups on the cheapest wines and lower markups on higher-end wines. A $10 wholesale wine may be marked up to $30, but a $50 wine might be just $80. So that, in a certain sense, that presents a value proposition, but by the same token, how often can any of us, swing $80 for a bottle of wine at dinner? And so then that starts to restrict your choices too. And I have to say, my wife and I often bemoan the fact that when we do go out to eat, when the bill comes, 75% of the bill is often the wine, which then restricts how often we feel like we can go out to eat, just because just the amount of money involved with that. It's been my experience that some, unfortunately, not even most, adhere to industry pricing standards, or at least, of course, if nobody adheres to it, is it a standard or not? Some restaurants adhere to the traditional standard pricing markup of 200 to at the top 3%. Unfortunately, my experience in dining out is I'm seeing more places pushing this into the 300 and 400% markup range. And my experience has been that if you search long enough, you may find a wine price that is merely insulting. Not long ago, my wife and I were in a resort town, and we went out to get a pizza at a little local joint. And so it's summer, the weather is nice. Most of their seating is outside, and they had a bar outside as well. So of course, the first thing I do is I walk up to the bar and order a glass of wine, and I got a completely ordinary Italian selection, since this is a pizza place. And the guy hands me the bottle in 2 plastic cups and says, "That's $32. And I thought, well, all right. So we sat down at the outdoor tables and started drinking our completely ordinary wine. And this experience is what really kind of got me going on restaurant wine price gouging. I thought, I'm going to look this wine up. Well, this wine retailed for $9. So you got to figure the restaurant paid $6 for it, wholesale, tops. And of course, this blows out the whole idea about the glassware, about the linens. It was, here's your bottle, here's your plastic glasses, hope you like it. And frankly, that experience was what has really kind of gotten me on this crusade, if you will, to call out overpriced wine. I'd been aware of it in restaurants for a long time and just kind of silently suffered with it, but it just seemed so egregious that it had to go. It had to go remarked. And what I said in my Yelp review of this place was, hey, good pizza, they do a great job, but if you go, they have a takeout option. Go to the back, get your pizza to go, take it back home, and drink your wine and eat your pizza there. You'll be much happier. I'm frustrated because I don't know what the solution is to this problem. It seems like the restaurant owners have all of the power in this transaction. That if you're going to get wine in a restaurant, you're going to pay their prices. The only bright spot I see is that these days, with the prevalence of social media, where people are willing to review, and often extensively, a restaurant's food or its service or its location, its cleanliness, whatever. I find it interesting that the issue of wine pricing, it just never seems to come up. And I don't think that's not because people aren't having wine with their meals. I think it's just people have been trained that this is just the way it is. You just have to accept this kind of pricing practice. And I would like to issue a call to people within the sound of my voice that if you are into social media reviews, and if you are a casual wine drinker, and if you are irritated as hell by these pricing practices, that you let the restaurant owner know through your review and call them out on this, and maybe it'll put the brakes on this a little bit. That would be my hope. Speaking of reviews, if you're listening to this podcast on your favorite app, be sure to give me a 5-star review. Be sure to visit winervana.com for all kinds of reviews on mostly wine, some spirits. There are even some recipes in there that you might enjoy. And when you're at Wine Nirvana, be sure to subscribe. Until next time, this is Stephen Hawk, your wine guru.
This has been Wine Nirvana. To learn more, visit us at www.winervana.com.
This is a production of Habanero Media.